Welcome to your 12-minute HR lesson. Today, we're going to talk about sorry. Sorry, this one might be a bit of a long one, but today we're going to talk about sorry, what it means, some of the great modern-day sorries, whether or not they're sincere, and what we should take from them, and so you can understand if someone says sorry to you, what does that mean? What happens when someone says sorry? What do they mean? What do they think it means? If we expect someone to say sorry, what are we expecting of them? What do we expect them to mean when they say it? Whether or not they say sorry or apologise or what have you. What does sorry mean? We understand it at a superficial level. We could probably even give a good definition. But the question is, what are the implications of sorry in terms of what has happened? Does it mean it didn't happen? Does it mean that that's taken away? Now, before I go deep diving into these ideas, it's perhaps easy just to give you some examples. And here I'm going to do a classic YouTuber, classic social media, classic content creator trick of top 5 lists. Don't often do them. Let's do them this time. I've got 3 top 5 lists for you, so let's go. Our first category is the sorry but so what category. The, yeah, you said sorry, but so what? What does that mean? Because, in my opinion, it don't mean much. We're going to start off with one of the greatest and most famous sorries of all time, Kanye West apologising to Taylor Swift at the VMAs as he hijacked her award. Sorry, I'm going to let you finish. Then we're going to move on to a very broad, which is not a specific category, but it's a whole lot of people involved in this one. And this is more of a trend than an instance. And this is YouTubers making sorry videos. I've only seen a couple of them. I tend not to get interested in online drama, but essentially it's becoming a common thing for YouTubers having to make apology videos in which they wail, gnash their teeth, wring their hands, stress and angst over the thing that they've got caught doing that they probably knew they shouldn't have done in the first place. Third, we've got perhaps one of the most staged and, in my opinion, insincere apologies, Will Smith apologising to Chris Rock and others after slapping him in the Oscars in 2022. Did he mean it? I don't know. Was it heavily stage managed and PR'd? Yes, absolutely. Was it sincere? Who knows? So, sorry, but so what? What does that sorry mean? Perhaps the next one along those lines, now we're getting into what effect does PR have in this process. We've got Tiger Woods apologising to his wife and others for his infidelity. Is he sorry? I'm sure he's very sorry. Did he know he was doing wrong at the time? Absolutely. But to ramp that up to number 5, perhaps the most extreme and most stage-managed apology of all times is Lance Armstrong on Oprah apologising for his performance-enhancing drug use. Is he sorry that he did it? I'm sure he probably is. Does that change anything? Did he mean it? Probably. Did it change anything? Not really. So to paraphrase Lisa Simpson, as she puts it to Bart one day, you're not sorry you did it, you're sorry you got caught. Now let's talk about sorry through actions. Sorry where people probably don't even say it. Like, in all of these situations, they don't explicitly say it, but if they do say it, that's not the important thing. It's not the words, it's their actions after their regret. They have done some things that they regret, and they now recognize, and they are making amends for it. So our first one here, and extremely obvious, extremely straightforward, is Ebenezer Scrooge buying a turkey and putting on lunch for the people he has wronged. Merry Christmas, everyone. Second one is Lieutenant Dan in Forrest Gump. Did he ever say sorry to Forrest for being really difficult to be around? No. But Lieutenant Dan is an interesting redemption arc as he goes from a bitter, resentful, angry vet to someone who finds his peace. After he finds his peace, he then looks after Forrest Gump in different ways. Never said sorry, but always looking out for Forrest. Third is pretty much a straightforward one, in that most of the story is Jean Valjean recognises he's been an angry person and spends most of that story making up for it through his actions. In a similar line, we have Tony Stark. Most of the stuff that he's done wrong kind of happens in the first act of the first movie, and thereafter that's his motivation. As a playboy arms manufacturer who's done extremely well from the death and pain of others, he is making amends for that through being a hero, being Iron Man. And the fifth, and perhaps my favourite one by far, is Boromir defending the hobbits, Merry and Pippin, from the orc attack. Boromir dies fighting off orcs, defending the hobbits because he fell to the temptation of the ring. He tries to take it from Frodo. That betrayal is so critical to telling us how tempting the ring can be, what a force for evil it is, and Boromir fell to its temptations and makes amends for it by sacrificing himself, by trying to protect Merry and Pippin. Our third category is sorry but meant it. Sorry where, and this is in my opinion, you're welcome to have different opinions, they've sold a genuine apology. I agree, that person understands what they did wrong and really regrets what they did. Not the consequences. They regret being the person they were when they made that decision. Our top one, and perhaps the cutest, is I'm sorry, Wilson. Tom Hanks crying out to the ball floating away at the end of Castaway, where he has to make the choice between his raft and the volleyball, and him choosing the raft but apologizing that he couldn't save Wilson, the volleyball. He means it. That's a genuine apology. The second one, we're going to take a different tact here. This is Robin Thicke's album to his ex-wife Paula, in which he is trying to win her back with a whole album of introspection and apologizing and emotion, just laying himself out there. It didn't work. He didn't get her back. It's unknown if she's even listened to it. But the short answer is, it didn't work, but he did mean it. Our third one is Marlin apologizing to Nemo at the end of Finding Nemo for being overprotective. Does he mean it? Absolutely. Our fourth one is the older Private Ryan's apology to Tom Hanks's character at the very, very end of Saving Private Ryan. He's older, he's come back to Tom Hanks' grave, and he essentially apologizes for the sacrifices that he made and tries to show and tell Tom Hanks that he's done his best to earn what they did for him. The whole movie's earned the scene when he says, "Tell me I've been a good man. Tell me that I have deserved in some way what these people did for me, that I have paid them back through a good life that I have lived." But even more emotional, even more tug on the heartstrings in a disarming way, is a scene you've probably not thought about for forever, and I do encourage you to go back and have a look at it. It is the key scene of the movie Notting Hill. And I'll set the scene for you. The whole concept of the movie is, can a famous person have a normal relationship with an everyday person? And in the key scene, Julia Roberts comes to see Hugh Grant's character, and she brings him a painting by way of apology for what's happened in the past. And she asks him so sweetly if perhaps she could see him again. And he says, "No, I think it's just going to be too hard." And she says, "Remember, the fame thing isn't real. I am just a girl standing in front of a boy asking him to love her." It's exquisite. It's gorgeous. Beautifully written. Beautifully delivered. Gets me every time. All right, that was vaguely interesting. But let's get some rubber on the road. Let's get some runs on the board. Let's get some actual, what does this mean for you and your job and the things that you need to figure out differently and better in the future. And so the question I want to drill down on is, what does sorry actually mean? And our first category of sorry is, sorry I got caught. Sorry I regret the decision that I made, but I knew the decision was the dangerous thing to do when I did it. And this is where we get into the situation of, yes, you're sorry, but what does that mean? You don't now know things that you didn't before. And the classic example here is theft, defraud, any level of deception. That person made a calculated risk that they could get away with a thing and not get caught doing it. They knew that they weren't doing the right thing at the time. The only thing that they didn't know is that their estimation of the probability of being caught was out. Or maybe they got that right, they just got unlucky. But either way, we've caught them doing a thing that they shouldn't do. What does sorry mean? Well, they knew it was wrong at the time. How can we have any confidence that they're not going to do it again if they knew it was wrong there and then? So to my mind, apologies in those circumstances don't mean much, because there's not much learning going on that they didn't know before. Our second type of apology that has some value but we have to be careful of is the doff the cap apology, the subservience apology, the bend the knee apology, where the person who is deemed to have done wrong takes their hat off, holds it in their hand, looks at their feet and mutters an apology. This has some value, but we have to be careful because it's the type of thing they can think it's the right thing to do in this situation. We can think it's the right thing to do. It is sort of a ritual humiliation. It's an acceptance of the person's diminished power and authority within the relationship, and that the other person is the more dominant and powerful person and they should acquiesce to their needs and preferences. Is there time and a space for that type of apologies? I apologise because you're the person in charge and I'm the person not in charge, and therefore I will do what you want me to do in the future. It's not getting us very far. If the problem is they are just doing what they like and we really have a problem with that, and we need to bring them into line to align their heads so that their priorities match our priorities, maybe in that circumstance we're getting somewhere with a doff the cap apology. More likely than not, it doesn't really mean anything. It doesn't wipe the slate clean. It doesn't mean what happened never happened. So now to our final type of apology, which doesn't mean everything. I'm not building up to a clear and obvious, this is the solution that you should always aim for, but this is the type of apology that has some mileage. That is I was a bit of an idiot, I made some bad judgments, I had reasons, but yeah, I accept now those reasons weren't good or they weren't good enough. And next time I will make different decisions because I'm going to see things differently. Take workplace bullying, for instance. So often people have good reasons for the behaviour that they are doing, but that behaviour is insufficiently justified. The example is the person who tosses their toys because a problem isn't being solved. To their mind, well, the problem is way more important than people's feelings along the way. And you as an employer entitled to say, well, no, it's not that important. And you can't break a few eggs to get an omelette. That's not acceptable in this workplace. Don't do that again. To which the person goes, okay, I wasn't being a prick for the sake of it. But on the other hand, now that you explain what's more important in this workplace, yeah, I can work with that. And I wasn't doing it out of malice. And look, I do apologize. I didn't mean to hurt their feelings. I had reasons. I now accept that they weren't good enough. I will do things differently, and I apologize for my bad judgment call at that time. Because at the end of the day, what we're looking for is not to pretend that it never happened. What we are looking for is confidence that it won't happen again. That's what an apology needs to mean to us. That's our criteria. It's not about the past. It's not about wiping the slate clean or not. It's about giving us some level of confidence that what we have a problem with, the behaviour we're prepared to say that's not acceptable, isn't going to happen again. An apology is part of the formula that gets us to that confidence. So that's all you need to know about sorry. Congratulations. You're now fully qualified as a sorry measurologist. Well done. I'll put it in the post. If you found this interesting, please have a look at us at pragmatichrm.nz. You can find our HR courses that we can do. You can find how to contact us about potential HR consultancy. There's also, and I don't mention this enough, there's also a series of published articles in there which are similar to these podcasts, something for you to think about and chew on and go, oh yeah, I hadn't really thought about that way, which is kind of what we want to do here. We want to help you think. So if you're interested in what we have to offer, please have a look. If you're not, feel free to share us and let other people know so we can spread the word. Thanks.